Hello, my name is Deanine Moore, and this is the video for second grade ELA for eXtend Homeschool Ministries. I will be the tutor next year. To give you a little bit of information about myself, I am a follower of Jesus. So I begin each class with prayer, and I will be showing the love of Jesus to your students and, also holding them to expectations of Christ-like behavior with each other and, of course, toward any of the adults in the class, including myself. I am a wife to Antonio Moore. I'm the mother of two boys. August is my 2-year-old. Antonio Jr., whom we call AJ, is my 6.5-year-old. He is a student at eXtend, and he'll be going into third grade next year. So as you see, I'm also a homeschooling mom, so I'm in this with you guys. I've also been in just kind of the field of education over the last 18 years in some way or respect. For our particular class, students as young as 6 would be fine, as long as they've done first grade, and students as old as 9 years old, because I know that there can be a range in homeschool. So I want to make sure that you guys are kind of clear on the target age for this class. And that's just to make sure that students are pretty close in age. We meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's the third period of the day. There are a lot of different concepts that we will focus on in second grade English, but the goal is really just to continue to build strong readers and writers through explicit instruction, especially with respect to grammar, because surely grammar is going to be our primary curriculum that we're going to use, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But it's also important to include the phonics, continue with the phonics instruction. There will be literature, exploration, spelling, and handwriting/journaling practice as well. And we'll talk about the division of work in just one moment. So as the tutor, it is my goal to make sure that I am introducing all new content so that way when your student comes home, they feel confident to continue working on whatever we worked on in class or whatever is assigned for the home days. To that end, there's always going to be practice time involved because students won't master content if they don't have time to practice. We'll do some reading when we get into literature, and literature is kind of broken down on Thursdays. And like I said, so we'll do some, but the goal is definitely that you are continuing to do reading at home as well. You'll also do spelling, phonics, handwriting, and handwriting/journaling at home as well. So the content will be, or the spine we are using is Shirley Grammar. It's the level 2 book. I put my son's into a binder, but this is what the front cover of the student workbook looks like. It is critical that they have this because we use them every single day. Whether or not you choose to put your child in a binder is up to you. It's just one way of organizing the information. We also use the level 2 practice sentences. Now my son's his is in the back of his book. So this is obviously this is the title page from inside of the book. But so it's a much thinner book, but both of those books are consumable. And as I said, we use them all the time, so you'll want to get them new because they are consumable, and they're going to be super important for your kids to have. There's also a teacher's manual. Looks just like this, except it says teacher's manual. Completely optional. It really just depends on you as far as what you feel most comfortable with. I will make, when it comes to tests, I do make copies of the testing information, the testing supports, so that way it makes it a little bit easier for you to do scoring, and even to help your child to help with administration of the test. And I post those on Google Classroom. We'll also be reading 3 books next year. We'll start out with Polia's First Day, which is a narrative text, and the student is going into second grade, so it's very relatable for the students. Second quarter, we'll read Whoosh, which is a biography. about Lonnie Johnson. He is the inventor of the Super Soaker. So it's a pretty fun book. And finally, for the last 2 quarters, because of course this is a much thicker text, we're going to dig deeply into it as well. We'll be reading Charlotte's Web. So all of those books students will need to have. In addition to those, of course, as I mentioned, if you choose to use a binder to set up your child's materials, they need to have whatever text we're working on at that time. Pencils, they're always going to need pencils, some coloring materials, scissors, glue sticks, just the basics. And there will be a small fee for just when I do copies for their handwriting journals, literature pockets, things like that I provide. So there is a fee. And we will be in person. So sorry, this was the same PowerPoint I used last year. So I meant to change that. Sorry about that. I do give 5 days of assignments. So it is broken down. Our weeks start on Tuesday. So we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday. But there are 5 days of assignment. So the expectation is that you're doing 5 days worth of work each week. On Mondays, the goal is that you're giving a spelling test. We also have Shirley grammar tests. Those typically happen once a week as well. They won't start out the first couple of weeks. Your child will most likely not have a Shirley grammar test, but then after that, pretty quickly every week on, your student will have a Shirley grammar test each week as well. The expectation is kind of to aim for Mondays if you want to give it on a Friday, depending on if that works best with your student's schedule, that's fine. But somewhere between Friday and Monday. I also assign 2 book reports each year. So there's always some type of quarterly project, but 2 of those will be book reports. And of course, students need to be prepared and engaged so that we can make sure we're using our time as best as possible. And to make sure everybody has a fun time. You are the primary teacher. I am the tutor. So you hold the onus of your students' success, but I am there to support you and partner with you in this homeschool journey. So remember, my goal is to extend your reach in the homeschooling journey. But communication is going to be key between us. As in every relationship, communication is key. For work submission, you will not have to submit every single thing that your child does. I ask that you submit 2 examples of student work from whatever they've done over the week into Google Classroom each week, as well as, of course, for grades for tests, those you also submit via Google Classroom as well. If you need to reach me, here's my email and my phone number. Text is best, and that's just because I can see it right away, and I can typically respond faster if you text, but email is also great. All right, hope to see some of you all next year. Bye-bye.